Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2015 Lexus RX450h. Up front is a 3.5 liter V6 as well as a hybrid system, and down below is an eCVT. Now I am super excited to be driving this RX450h for one reason. It has been 10 years since this vehicle has been released, and so we're going to be doing a little bit of a retrospect of what has changed. Maybe some thoughts and opinions have changed on Lexus, and their technology has progressed 10 years. Is that a good thing, or maybe is that a bad thing? So today, we're going to be talking about all of that. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you would like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month, as well as you'll find exclusive audio content. But let's get back to that 3.5 liter V6 as well as hybrid system. Well, it is not a plug-in hybrid. That is very nice to see, and it is the 3.5 liter that was used in so many Toyota and Lexus products. The 3.5 liter from Toyota might go down in history as one of their best engines. Maybe not the most show-offy engine, maybe not to the level of the 2JZ, but in terms of mundane, reliable power, this engine has all of that and some. And as we'll start our comparisons to the modern Lexus has been shying away from the 3.5 liter. They've been going to the 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder, which is a good engine, but I don't think it's going to have the reliability that you see in this particular vehicle. Like I said, paired to it is an eCVT. Now, Toyota Lexus hybrids tend to usually have an eCVT paired to it, and I think it feels really at home. Because there's so much going on under the hood, a slightly chaotic transmission doesn't really add to the noise. When it's paired to a traditional 4-cylinder, yeah, it's really noticeable, but here, there's so much going on, it just kind of fades into the background, and so I don't mind the eCVT. I think it actually works really, really well. It makes a lot of sense here. Last but not least, the RX450h is all-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the RX450h? Now, this might just be my personal opinion. Well, this whole video is my personal opinion, but it feels bigger than I remember. The RX feels a little bit bigger than I remember. Maybe I'm just having an off day or something, but it does feel decently sizable. Beyond that, steering is light, visibility is good, it's easy to get in and out of. In terms of a car, this is a very good car. I also just want it to be known that on the short drive returning this car back to its owner, which was about 12 minutes, I saw every single generation of Lexus RX on that short drive. They are still around. They withstand the test of time, and I think this one will too. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have almost all physical gauges. Off to the left is my coolant temperature and power gauge, basically acting as a tachometer, but with the hybrid system. And off to the right is the speedometer and fuel. Of course, we do get a tiny little hybrid screen up at the top telling us where the power is flowing from, whether that be the engine or the battery or both or neither to the wheels. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our volume, skip, track, and mode, and off to the right, we have our phone options as well as our selectors. We do get some wood trim on the steering wheel. Really, really enjoy seeing that. And off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, a cup holder that for sure fails the big friggin' bottle test. And moving out of the door, we get a speaker, 3 levels of memory seats, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Again, all very presentable and have held up really well. Moving into the center, we do get our infotainment system. Now, this does feel very dated. No Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and to be fair, Toyota and Lexus were some of the last companies to adopt Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They tried to use this Intune system till I want to say like 2021, which was way later than everyone else. So even if you buy several model years newer of this vehicle, you still wouldn't get Apple CarPlay. It does have a backup camera. Remember, this is 3 years before a backup camera was legally required, so nice to see that that was still a luxury and not a requirement. Down below, we have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch. We have our CD player. Mind you, the model year before this, they were still offering a cassette player in the SC430. Fun little tidbit there. But then we have our climate controls, dual zone climate, digital clock, things like that, and the shifter. This is the really standard shifter that was found in pretty much every Lexus Toyota product from this era. I call it the jigsaw shifter because it reminds me of a jigsaw puzzle. And then we have our little control unit for the infotainment system. This is pretty terrible. It's not great to use. It's not fun to use. It's not very user-friendly. However, Lexus has gone away from this, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I'm glad that they did. To the right, we have two more cup holders that also fail the big friggin' bottle test. And then we have two buttons for our traction control and our EV mode. So when the battery has enough charge, you can put it into EV mode at slow speeds. If you're in a parking garage or a subdivision or a school pickup line, you can say, hey, I want EV for this drive, and it will give you that. We do have heated and ventilated seats here. Very nice to see that in the RX450h. A center console and the seats. The seats are leather, they are heated and ventilated, power and memory, and are pretty much everything I want from a modern seat. I have a little bit of back pain here this morning, and they are soothing me. The heat is on, the leather's nice and comfy, and I feel no pain. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2015 Lexus RX450h, and a couple of things to note. First of all, the seat is a little bit further back than my driving position, but it still doesn't leave a whole lot of space. The RX450h, although it feels bigger to drive, actually isn't that big of a vehicle. We do get a center console here with some openable cup holders. I do get lights, things like that, nothing too crazy. It's a fine back seat. It's not the most spacious in the world. If I remember correctly, though, I felt that way about the modern equivalent too, and the older ones, so nothing really new there. I do have two climate control vents. Love to see that, especially on this chilly day. I could still have some heat going on, so I don't get hypothermia in the back of an RX450h. Speaking of the back of the RX450h, let's go hop around the back and look at the tailgate of the Lexus RX450h. All right, around the back, I'm not going to say the name again, don't worry, but we do have a button in here for a power tailgate. Now, over the last 10 years, it seems like it has slowed down a little bit, but we do get a big cargo net, a nice cargo cover as well, and some decent space around the back of the 450h. Nothing really too crazy to write home about. Button up here for that power tailgate to go right back down. Not the fastest in the world, but that is okay. Oh, is it good? Oh, okay, it is, okay, cool. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I think this is one of the downsides of the RX450h, at least in my opinion. I don't find it very interesting. I don't find it very visually stunning. I've never really fallen in love with the RX. Maybe, here's a 2024 RX. I think that looks better, and they do offer it in this like rose gold, copper crest, it's actually called. I like that, but this, I don't know. I think cars of this era just weren't very pretty, and that's okay. Not every car has to be, but this car is in impeccable quality for being 10 years old. So with that being mentioned, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 10-year-old Lexus RX 450h? Well, it's been an overwhelmingly positive experience. This car has held up so well. Remove the infotainment system, and I would believe you that this was a 2025 and not a 2015. All the materials in here have held up really well. They still feel luxurious. They still feel comfortable. They still offer the same quality that they did 10 years prior. And same with the drivetrain, same with the driving feel. It feels as though I am driving this car off the lot in 2015. Now, if it was 2015, I'd be listening to Andy Grammer or Fetty Wap or Jordan Belfort on the radio and not more current hits, but you get my point. And honestly, in my heart of hearts, I do start to worry about modern Lexus because they are starting to shy away from fantastic engines like this. They're starting to shy away from fantastic vehicles like this. This 3.5 liter is so well proven. The eCVT, although maybe unnatural feeling, is good. It works well. The materials, the feeling, dare I say the Gen Z word vibe The overall vibe of this car is great, and it has held up where I'm not totally sure that the modern equivalent will. These cars are well known for going 200, 300, maybe even 400,000 miles with minimal work required. And yet I don't know if that can be said about the modern era. As CAFE standards crack down on automakers, it's harder and harder to build solid, reliable engines. And so what we have on our hands here is a golden era. A soon to be, if not already, sought after era for Lexus vehicles. An era where they were luxurious, where they are good, where they still feel modern enough, but they don't have some of the modern garbage that's been pumped into recent models. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but it's how I feel. And isn't that the point of these videos anyway? I thought so. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ian for letting me borrow his RX450h for today's video. He's been absolutely wonderful to work with. I appreciate him fitting me into his busy schedule on this chilly Monday morning. Ian is fantastic, and I hope to work with him again in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.